Hi, this is David Gillespie, and today I'm going to be teaching you about the House-divided Civil War research engine at Dickinson College. I went to Dickinson College as an undergrad, and I worked on this project with my professor, and it provides an excellent database for students and for teachers as well. And so we're going to dig in. Right here in the background you can see Old West. It's the old building on campus. Around the sides you can see portraits of famous Dickinsonians. Over here we have Roger Taney, who was the Supreme Court Justice who decided in the Dred Scott decision. And then right after him is one of our most infamous presidents, James Buchanan. So you get to this site by going to housedivided.dickinson.edu. Now when you get there, you're going to be brought to this screen, and then you hit enter House Divided. We're going to click on that. Alright, so what pulls up, you see the daily report. And one of the strongest features that you're going to find in the House Divided research engine is the daily report, because each day it shows any kind of event that is associated with that day in history. Right now, we call it the anniversary edition because it has been following along with the 150th anniversary, or the sesquicentennial, that is going on in the Civil War right now. And so here we can see that, General Henry Wager Halleck turned 50 on this date, or that Robert Roberts hit, turned 31. And you can scroll down to see what is going on in events. Now today, right now is the second session of the 38th Congress, and but on important days you're going to find important events that are linked to that, such as April 9th, when Robert E. Lee surrendered to Ulysses S. Grant in Appomattox. But I want to show you a little bit about what this can do. So if we want, we can click on, say, Henry Wager Halleck right here. I'll go ahead and click on that. And we can see this is where we have a collection, a somewhat Facebook page, as it were, on Henry Halleck. Now you're going to see an extensive list here of his full name, place of birth, where he was buried, which side of the war he fought, where he might have been buried, and his various political parties, a little bit about, the biographical information. You can go in to see note cards, which are going to have excerpts from trusted sources that students can quote from when they are researching any particular person who was involved with the Civil War era. And when I say Civil War era, I do not just mean the time between 1861 and 1865 that the Civil War was fought. We consider the whole era from, say, 1840 to about 1870. And so you're going to see a little bit of biography about him, events, anything that he can be linked to, major topics, any thing that he was specifically involved with that we have more information about, and then finally also documents. Now documents are great. We have primary source research that students can use. You can scroll through. You can see any letters, like for example Abraham Lincoln and Don Carlos Buell. You can click on that. We can see that it mentions Henry Halleck. We can see the record data, the transcription of what is said. I can scroll through this. See this Lincoln letter here. Images of the document if it's available. And finally, people. You can see who's involved: Henry Halleck, George McClellan, and Irvin McDowell, all famous Union generals, and places. So that's one of the main features here at the House Divided project. You can also scroll on the side. You can go to the almanacs for each year. For example, we can click on 1857 and see the year in review. You can click on any of these dates to find out what was happening at any time during this period. So these are examples of the history, and this is like this day in history that we saw at the very beginning, the daily report. You can go through, you can see we have it through 1863 at the moment. And then further on, what I think will be most helpful to the other teacher candidates available here are going to be what's located here underneath Teacher's Guide. Now, here we have digital classrooms, such as the LD debates, which is the Lincoln Douglas debates. We'll click on that. You can see there are interactive lesson plans, activities, videos of historians discussing. For example, I can click on this video talking about the Lincoln Douglas campaigns. You can see a transcription of the video. I'll play this here.
The Lincoln Douglas debates were about one issue, slavery. It was the overriding issue of the day. Lincoln said it was the only live issue of the era. And it's a remarkable fact because Illinois was a free state. The state had lots of challenges that year. 1858, the country...
These are all videos that teachers can use in the classroom. You can go back, you can see that we have web guides showing valuable and certified sources from the 19th century that students can use. Further reading, you can links to find out more about the Lincoln Douglas debates. This right here, the 3D map room, shows a virtual field trip that you can see what it would have looked like at the time that Lincoln and Douglas were debating. So there's a whole great heap of sources here. I can show you a couple other lessons that you can find here. One part of it that I specifically worked on was the Texas Farmers Civil War. This is a great resource for any teacher who is teaching about the personal side of the war. You can here see transcriptions of all of Private William Stoker's letters. William Stoker was a private soldier who served in a Texas infantry regiment. He did own a slave, but he was fairly poor. Here you can go through life summary, where he was born, Chambers County, Alabama, eventually where he settled, where he died, etc. You can see what was seen in the census in 1860. And mainly, if you go over here to the documents, you can see this entire list of letters that William Stoker wrote to his wife. Now, I think this is an especially important resource for students because they can get a real feeling for what these people were like. And it's especially poignant by being able to see the actual images of letters that soldiers wrote. For example, you can see here, and you can zoom in, this is a letter written on January 22nd, 1863. You can zoom in here and download this as well and read this. But if, understandably, students are unable to read 19th century script, they can also go to a transcription and read in typed up print everything that Private Stoker had to say. So these are valuable. This is a great site to be able to get important primary source resources for students to be able to examine. There's also several videos involved within the Texas Farmer Civil War. You can see biographical film, interactive essays. You can go through and examine maps where the important events in Private Stoker's life took place. And so that's very helpful for teachers. And so these are just a couple of the important resources available here at the House Divided. You can go on to see more options available through the on the Underground Railroad, or you can even look up deeper into the life of Abraham Lincoln. And so this is overall a very important resource for any teacher or student to be able to go through, research important events of the period, and to find reliable primary sources and reliable secondary sources in which historians are commenting on these important events, and for students to go and to know that they have a reliable place to accurately cite everything that they are learning about. Thank you for listening, and that's the House Divided Project.